is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Director Mueller, welcome. Director, do you agree that no United States citizen arrested in the United States should be indefinitely detained without all the rights of due process? What's your interpretation of Section 1021 of the National Defense Authorization Act?
Can you repeat the question again?
Sure.
If you wouldn't mind.
The question is whether or not you agree that no United States citizen apprehended, seized, captured, arrested in the United States should be indefinitely detained without all the rights of due process provided by our Constitution.
I believe that should be the case.
So do you have concern over the language that is in the National Defense Authorization Act called Section 1021, which does not clarify the status of U.S. citizens in that regard?
I haven't focused on that aspect of the Act as much as I focused on the other aspects of the Act. But I do believe it affirms the President's authority to make what decisions the President believes are necessary to thwart a terrorist attack.
But that might include seizing a U.S. citizen in their home in Chicago, Illinois, and then detaining them indefinitely without charges.
I'm not certain that's the case, but I have not read the OLC opinions and I have not followed the debate on it.
Well, we would look forward to the opportunity to work with you to make sure that it's clear that U.S. citizens have that protection, and we are in the process of working through that here in the Congress. Let me ask you another question. Last week, the FBI arrested 5 men in Cleveland, Ohio, who were involved in a terrorist plot to bomb a bridge. Some of these men were members of the Occupy Cleveland movement. Has the FBI seen an increase in this type of left-wing extremist terrorist activity, and is the Occupy movement a breeding ground for this type of extremism? And if those within the Occupy movement perceive that their demands are not being met, what is the likelihood that we will see them resorting to more of this type of violence?
Well, as to the last aspect of your question, I can't speculate. I will tell you that because it's the individuals who were arrested last week, I'm limited to, and I direct you, if I could, to the complaint that was followed and the facts that are laid out in the complaint, which focus on their conduct, not necessarily the conduct of others.
And how about my first question, which was, have you seen an increase in this type of left-wing extremist terrorist activity?
Well, I would say I wouldn't necessarily go with a predicate left-wing terrorist attack. I would say persons who have violated the laws in this particular way, we have not seen necessarily an increase. It's episodic.
And how about if it's ideologically driven, without characterizing the particular ideology?
These individuals violated the law. That's why they were arrested.
Thank you. In recent years, we've seen many reports of confidential and secret government information leaking out and being posted on the Internet. The WikiLeaks cases are perhaps the most prominent example, but an FBI report last year also drew attention to the growing problem of foreign students and professors engaging in espionage and intellectual property theft on campuses. When millions of secret documents can be walked out of a government building or a lab on a thumb drive in a back pocket, the risks of espionage, leaks, and theft increase. Does the FBI have the tools that it needs to protect confidential information in the records that contain much private information about individual citizens and corporate secrets and confidential government secured information? Do you have the tools that you need in the Internet era to protect against that?
Well, let me speak. I'll speak to the protection of information within the databases of the FBI. Yes, I will say, yes, we are quite obviously concerned not only about insiders but also hackers from outside, and I believe we have state-of-the-art capabilities to protect our databases. That does not mean it cannot be done, and it is a continuous worry for anybody who heads up any department. But we have taken, and I do believe it's the best you have out there to assure that the protection of our data. As you point out, often data is contained in universities or colleges or elsewhere, and to the extent that we as an entity have are working with those institutions. We, of course, seek to assure that those institutions have up-to-date security to protect whatever they may have on our.
Thank you. My time's expired, but with regard to my first question, I'd also call to your attention legislation that was just signed into law by Governor McDonnell of my state. It was House Bill 1160, which basically, in addressing this concern about unlawful seizures of citizens in their homes, directs that no state agency in Virginia can cooperate with any federal agency for the enforcement of that provision in the NDAA. So if you could look at that further and respond to the committee with your thoughts about how we can correct this problem and protect our citizens here at the federal level, we would very much welcome it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Goodlatte. The gentleman